Good morning, guys. Welcome to Fishful Thinker. I'm Chad LaChance. As always, we appreciate you joining us in the boat right here. We got a guy that's really important to Fishful Thinker television. This is Mr. Chris Pitsilos. Now, you probably don't recognize Chris, but you might from our YouTube channel. And here's why I can tell you that. Chris is the line manager for Berkley. Chris, Berkley makes a lot of fishing line.
Lots of fishing line.
We finally got you out of the office, out of the test labs, and we're going to show you some of that, but we got you on the lake, home lake. What do you expect?
Tell you what, I'm excited. I love the fall. You know, it starts to get a little bit quiet around here, but guess what? When it gets quiet, fishing gets a lot great.
A lot better. Well, guys, we're here in late September. Big cold front yesterday. We're going to fish today. We're going to fish some tomorrow as well, and we're going to spend some time at the labs here in Spirit Lake. We're going to see how you make fishing line, how you make power bait, jar bait, the whole 9 yards, guys. We got an all access pass to Berkley's test facilities here in Spirit Lake, Iowa. So stay tuned, get comfortable. This is going to be fun.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Peterson Toyota, Fort Collins, Colorado. St. Croix Rods, best rods on earth. Berkley, catch more fish. Abu Garcia, for life. Otterbox, the great outdoors just got greater with coolers, dry duffels, and tumblers.
In the factory, first place we ended up stopping was, what do you call it, the extrusion line?
Yeah, where we make monofilament and fluorocarbon, our extrusion line.
Yeah, and so you say it started as pellets, and by the time it comes out the other end, it's fishing line.
Exactly. Basically, the product comes in pelletized, comes in small. We then process it. We have a formula for it. Right. We run it through our process, our extrusion process here. You can see it being spooled up here on our whip spools. And what happens, this is the beginning of making monofilament fishing line.
All the different mono, does fluoro do the same basic process?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and extrusion, guys, if you're not really familiar, picture a Play-Doh Fun Factory. It's basically comes in, gets squeezed through a calibrated hole, and obviously it cools or whatever it has to do before it gets spooled on here.
That's right. There's a whole lot of detail that goes into making it.
Sure.
A whole lot of different processing that makes the line the way we want to use it when we're fishing.
Right. More stiff, less stiff, more abrasion, less abrasion, better knots. It all depends on what goes in that end.
That's right. It all depends on how it's processed and what goes in on that front end.
All right. So we were just over at the extrusion machine where it's extruding all the line onto the big spools. You call them whip spools, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Big whip spools. Well, now there's a whip spool on the back of here, and it's going to spool them automatically onto the size of the spools that you guys are familiar with seeing. So depending on the size of these spools, you just swap these through.
That's correct. Everything's automated, and we make hundreds of thousands a year.
Hundreds of thousands of these. I go through hundreds of thousands. So what's going on here, Chris?
Well, what we're doing is we're feeding down the spools, we're adding the label, we're orientating the product to go in the blister card, and then it spits out on the other end.
All right, so they just came rolling out. That's what we're used to seeing at this point. About how many of these do you turn out in a day? Do you have any idea, or a year?
I have no idea, but I would still stick with my original comment about hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands. It's a lot of them. That's crazy. It's such a neat process, and that thing runs all the time?
All the time.
The line?
24/7.
24/7. That's a lot of fishing line. Oh, there's a pike. Okay, so we're going to lock this. And those guys are no fun, and we have shown you guys on Fishful Thinker television, easy buddy, easy. We have shown you on Fishful Thinker Fusion 19s buried in pike before, even with a pit boss. I have shown you this exact rod reel line with pike that would eat that one for breakfast repeatedly before. But guys, that's a pike, and we're in Gar Lake, right? We're gonna put him back.
Upper Gar right now.
Okay, we're gonna put him back. See you later. So now I want to point out that pitching, I've now caught 3 species. This is what, real quick, give us a rundown on this bit. This is your brand new X5 braid.
Yeah, X5 braid is super high in abrasion resistance. When you feel it, when you run your hand down it, you'll feel it's got like a little bit of a zipper feel. That's because it's made with 5 carriers. It's got a strand up the middle and 4 wrapped around it. And to get the same diameter, say like an 8 carrier or something, say it's a 10-pound line, you're gonna have a bigger strand, whereas an 8 carrier will have to make smaller strands to make up that same pound test. So when you feel it, you'll feel that zipper. It's great. It gives me a little bit of gumption, a little bit of feel when I'm jigging. So you did a great job feeling that bait. but also it's high in abrasion resistance. You saw with northern pike.
Well, yeah, no pike.
Gill plates or any of that. It's
yeah, no
awesome.
pike, no leader, no problem.
Wow.
You know, Fusion 19, 4-out Fusion 19, and a power bait pit boss right there, guys.
What pound test were you using?
It's 50 pounds.
Wow,
And it's a
50
flipping
pound.
rod. Yep, it's 50 pounds, a 7'4" heavy rod, and then the ALX. We got the Abu Garcia ALX. It's fast becoming one of my favorite Abus of all times, the ALXs, and this one's paying the bills. Got a bridge right here, guys, if you look. Got him right there. Well, I was gonna give you a definition, but my junk swam off real quick, so let me lock that down. That's another pike. And if this one doesn't cut me off, it'll be amazing. That X5 is running, you can see it, guys, look right there. That X5 is running right through his teeth. So if he cuts me off, and with all that shit, we're testing your product here, Chris. If he doesn't cut that off, yeah, it'd be amazing if he doesn't cut it off. Come on, we're gonna swing him up in here. Come here, buddy. Oh, there he goes. But I want to point out, this is a test, guys. You guys know what pike teeth are. You just saw that for a good 30 seconds, and there's not even a cut in that line at all. Got him. There you go.
Oh, first and last fish. Okay. No, you're gonna get them. There's your top water right here.
There you go. And easy. We don't have to hustle them. We're in no hurry on them. You got a little leader on there?
Oh, yeah.
You got a smallmouth?
I think I do. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll get a
little
hold
bit
of
of a
him.
leader.
We're going to get a hold of him and just pull him up in here. Nice. On the bullet pop, on that, is that a 70?
It is.
It's a size 70 bullet pop in a classic smallmouth color with the chartreuse over white. Nicely done. No, it's not a smallmouth.
No, it's a largemouth.
Oh, I thought he was, from my side, I can't see him with the light, guys. He was all brown. Can I put your fish back real quick?
Yes, it's
okay,
all
and then we'll
it's
talk
all
about
you.
that. All right. There you go, buddy. Brendan. All right, so how you got leader right here.
Yes.
What knot do you tie?
I tie a Crazy Alberto.
Okay, yeah.
And the nice thing about this is I can't use fluorocarbon because it sinks.
Right, pull the
so
nose
it's going to
down.
affect my action. I can't use braid
Yep.
because when this thing pops around, these hooks are going to catch.
And it'll tie
so I
knots,
like
yeah.
to use anywhere between 12 and 14 pound monofilament. This is actually Berkley Trilene XT.
Perfect.
It's got a little stiffness to it,
yep.
so it keeps the popper away from the line, and I'm fishing instead of undoing and untangling myself.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Peterson Toyota, Fort Collins, Colorado. Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Evinrude, spend more time on the water.
In Colorado, we go through miles and miles and pounds and pounds and pounds of trout dough.
Right.
Maybe not us here on Fishful Thinker because we don't do much with bait,
Right.
but our constituents do by the ton. And that stuff, what was the deal there? 13,000 jars a day.
Yeah, that's what they said, 13,000 jars. And to be honest with you, I think it's more than that.
I can tell you that the rate they're piling off of that line, it looks like more than 13,000 jars a day. I know that. The jars get filled, then they get a sticker on them, and down they go from there.
Right.
Now, rainbow power bait with glitter is the most popular one, correct?
Yeah, that's the #1 selling SKU.
#1 selling one. Rainbow with glitter is the #1 selling one, and those are mixed in big giant hoppers so that they, basically all the colors go in there and it swirls them and puts them in the jar.
Correct. Most important thing for trout, though, is you got to make sure that stuff floats. Trout's not going to pick it up as readily when it's sitting on the bottom.
Sitting on the bottom,
so
right.
that whole process is super important to the bait's efficacy in the water.
Now the trout dough is a major deal for Berkley.
Yes.
That's kind of what put power bait on the board. When we throw it to our viewers a lot, we're talking about power bait as in soft plastics.
Correct.
But the scents are cooked in it similarly, correct?
Correct.
All right, that's a good looking fish, guys, right there. He's got a big scar on him and sitting on the bridge piling right here. There you go, buddy. And I'll show you that bait real quick before the current sucks us under the bridge because we are in a big giant current spot. And I've got it on a swinging jig head right here. And there you go. There's that power bait jester right there. It's got some kind of see-through tentacles that you can see and tons of action on it. And 20-pound Trilene, 100% fluorocarbon, 7.4 heavy fast rod, and a Revo ALX, an 8-to-1 gear ratio. Really, really good all-around pitching setup. All right, what'd you get back there, boss?
Looks like we got ourselves a largemouth jig and a Maxent creature hog.
Well, I better come back there and check them out.
On the other side of that pylon.
On the piling, you say?
Yeah, right on the other side of it.
All right, now look at that. Now, guys, this is my first trip to here in Iowa, and we are drifting under the bridge, so I'm not gonna be able to stay here very long, but that's a nice catch, and you got your accent bait in there. Nicely done. Now, what's that? Oh, that's a carp. Hang on. See if I can get the boat to stop. I just want that thing to sink with no motion on it at all. There he goes. Got him. We're after those. Nice. My little general strikes again. And that's a smallie. Look at that.
We've caught 5 species.
That's our smallmouth bass, and he swallowed that little 4-inch general, and that is a classic smallmouth bait, that 4-inch general. That's a brand new bait for this year, too.
There's a meat and potatoes formula that all fish seem to like.
We proved that.
Yeah, that's right. But just as humans like pizza, you may like sausage. I like vegetarian, which, by the way, I don't like vegetarian.
Oh, that's good to know. Please don't tell me you like pineapple.
No, sir.
Okay,
no,
good.
sir.
Okay,
or
good.
chicken. I'm a straight pepperoni cheese guy.
Oh, well,
but
there you
the
go.
deal with that is that, you know, if you smell trout versus walleye formula versus bass formula, they all have a little bit different smell.
Right.
And that's that extra little advantage we have by studying each species, because each species is a little different.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Lowrance, Find, Navigate, Dominate. Abu Garcia for life. St. Croix Rods, best rods on earth.
So one of my favorite parts of the factory tour had to be the molding process, where we see all of our favorite baits. Like you're throwing a pit boss right now?
Yes,
a 4-inch pit boss. Viewers of our show will be very familiar with that bait. They've seen us plant that thing in the face of a whole bunch of fish over the years. Basically, the same power bait scent is cooked into the PVC,
Yes.
then injection molded,
Yes.
and they come out in the big giant rows.
Yep.
So cool seeing those come out of there. And there's like, how many are on there? Do you know off the top of your head how many baits are on there?
Well, it depends on the shape.
Depends on the bait.
Depends on the shape. If it's a smaller shape or a smaller length, you'll get a lot more per that mold set.
Gotcha.
Obviously, the bigger the shape, like a 5-inch power bait bungee hog, you know, it's a big shape with a lot of tentacles. It's going to be less.
Okay.
And then, of course, those are taken and then they're put in packaging sleeves by the piece. Sometimes we'll package it by weight, because when it's real small, it's hard to count.
Right. And I want to point out that those were done by humans.
Yes, sir.
Those are cut off the bags by humans, or cut off the little strings and then put in bags. That is not an automated process.
That is not.
That's a cool system to see. And that line, does that line run all the time as well?
That line runs all the time.
All right, guys, this is really cool. If you watch Fishful Thinker very much, you know we like to throw power hogs. Well, there is a power hog, right? There's one power hog. Well, this is what they look like when they come out of the molds. And at this station right here, they're gonna break them off by hand and bag them from there.
That's correct. They're gonna weigh them, count them, put them in their respective little areas, and then they'll get a heat shrink over top, and it makes it look like a power bait package.
That's what people are familiar with. But if you look at them like this, there's obviously some waste right here that gets recycled.
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
So, and knowing what I know about power baits, you could probably cut that chunk off right there and put it on a jig head and get her done. But that's really cool, guys. That's what a whole bag of power bait looks like, or excuse me, a whole thing of power hogs look like right there when they haven't been torn apart yet. And all the power bait soft plastics go through this.
Correct. Yes.
No matter the shape, whatever,
Correct.
It's the same basic deal.
Basically the same. Yep.
Yeah, big old
Nice
pike.
fish.
Yep. No, it's a pike, I think. And he's on the jaw. It is a walleye. Look at this walleye, dude.
Oh, nice walleye. 17 to 22.
Yeah, well, you know, that's that new Mike Iaconelli jester bait, and I'm trying to get control of the boat here. I'm gonna swing him because he's on 20-pound train, 100% fluorocarbon. And guys, that's a proper walleye. And you can see that big old jester right there all folded up on the knuckleball. We're just gonna be real quiet, and there'll be no hurry on a hook set for this.
I think we've done almost, how many techniques have we done?
A bunch. Here he is, Tim, right here. Fish. Got him. First throw. I knew that would work. Now who's you laughing for finesse fishing? Guys, that's the 4-inch Max Scent General right there. And I want to point out, and I realize, guys, this is not a monster largemouth, but that is a 4-inch General in gin clear water. And that was the first throw under the bridge. Yeah, he's gonna come right through here. That should help us, guys. Right when this boat goes through is when we'll get bit. Got him right there. There we go. That's a decent largie right there, guys. And like I said, as soon as the boat comes through is when you're going to catch them, and that's just a little guy. So we'll hopefully we'll do better than that. Beautiful fish right there, guys, and we'll see if there's some others in here. But we do believe that anytime I get around bridges, you have the opportunity of catching multiple fish, and this bridge would be no different than that. I got to say that the smell of the fresh power bait is, yeah, it gets you going, right?
Yeah, fresh power bait is, you know what, any power bait to me is good power bait.
There you go.
It's always nice to have a little fresh.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Otterbox, the great outdoors just got greater with coolers, dry duffels, and tumblers. St. Croix Rods, best rods on earth.
Now I got to be honest with you, bud. The most exciting part of all of it for me is the lab. I wanted to see where stuff's created. I mean, it's cool to see how you manufacture it, but I want to know where the creative process, where the science behind it came in, and that is really what makes Berkley Berkley. Would you agree with me?
Absolutely. That's what separates us from the competition.
Is the fact you have the big giant labs, the rooms full of largemouth bass and bluegills, and
we have people focused on exactly what you see on the package, and what Berkley stands for is catch more fish. Our goal is to make the angler experience better for the angler, not for us.
They started with the lady with the computer graphics.
That's correct.
The CGI and all that.
Yes.
And then from there, we looked at the prototype deal where you're cutting individual molds or whatever.
We can cut out prototypes very quickly. We can use a 3D printer to do it. We can use actual mold bases to do it.
Yeah, there's a CNC in there as well. And then you see the prototypes.
Correct.
All right, guys, so you're sitting here looking at stuff that's all being prototyped. So it came off either the 3D printer or the cutter over here that you can see how this stuff comes from. But you can see a mold here from a power worm right there, a little blade from a Chopo for the topwater bait, and of course, one of my favorites, guys, there you go. There's a little cutter right there. Of course, that's only half of a cutter. The other half of it would go right here. We'd put this whole thing together with some BBs in there, and you would have a full-size cutter. So all the prototyping is done in here. You know, you got a little flicker minnow right there as well. But all that stuff's done in here, and they can cut it on the 3D printer or on the cutter over here, and then take it in from there and actually mold the baits from there. So very, very high-tech stuff you see going on right here. All the baits that we fish day in and day out, this is how they got started right there. Pretty cool stuff. My mindset, like I said, that's really where the money's made. The rest of it, all the production stuff is cool, but where the money's made is making the bait what it needs to be in the first place.
Yes, sir.
So cool. That was a subtle little bite, and I mean subtle little bite. That fish barely pulled the topwater under. And it's just, what do I catch? Yeah, I caught a little largemouth bass. All right. And you can see, guys, he barely got that Fusion 19 treble right there. Just barely got it. And he's wee. I'm kissing him. There you go, buddy. Huh, so good call, Mr. Pitsilos. He's like, well, I wonder if they're little ones. And I'm like, maybe they're pike. But that bait literally was working and then just sort of pulled under behind it. I mean, he just sipped the feather under.
Did you stop it at all?
I did. I had paused it, and he grabbed the feather and pulled the bait under backwards.
I think that bait reorientates itself. The feather goes in, spreads out, and they suck it in.
Right on that buoy, guys. If you look at the buoy, I threw right on the buoy because it's the only piece of vertical cover. And what did I catch? I got a pike. And he's choked my jerkbait. This is not going to be fun to deal with, guys. If you look, there's a cutter 90 right there, and I'm going to let that pike get tired for a minute because look, you can't even see the front of the bait. Good. Oh, we're coming out from under. What is it?
It's a bass.
Oh, geez. Okay. Let me get you out from underneath here. On your lipless bait?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get control of the boat, guys. We're fighting the current. All right, you got him. You can swing him up there. Nice fish, dude. Real nice largemouth. And he ate your war pig.
He loves my 3/4 ounce war pig.
See, we had to hide under the bridge from the camera where no one could see his secret presentation with the war pig. Got him, big old pike. Yep, he just smacked that cutter sitting dead still, guys. This is gonna get interesting. It's gotta be a pike. Just by the way he's fighting. And he just smacked that thing, guys.
It's not.
What is it?
I don't know. Big old drum.
Oh, are you kidding me? That drum just smacked that jerkbait, dude. Are you kidding me?
That's 6 species.
Are you kidding me? Come here, fish, gently. Dude, he clobbered that thing too. How am I gonna get him off of here? He is all kind of, look at this, guys. I want to show you this. We came all the way to Iowa to catch a drum. And I've said forever that everybody eats a jerkbait. Well, there's my perch colored cutter. This is actually a cutter 110.
There he is again.
Oh, he's got the popper working late in the day, the low light period. You called that one. Holy schmoly, look at him go right at dark, guys. I'm gonna get down here and I'll lip him for you right here. And get my rod out of the way. Oh, that's a nicer one there. Getting a little better, bring him over here. Oh, he is barely hooked. He is barely hooked, so I'm just gonna be gentle. Look at him go, dude. And Chris, I think that's as good a place as any to close out our day because you just went 2 in a row. Look how fat these fish are, and look how dark green. They're like Florida fish. They're super dark green, nice, you know, man, oh man.
You know what? We gotta hit this spot tomorrow.
I'm thinking, so with that, guys, he just gave us away. So here's the deal, guys. This is the end of our first day in Spirit Lake, Iowa. We checked out your office, your facilities, how they make it, how they test it, how it's developed. We got to play with the fish.
Yeah,
we got to play with the casting pond. We got to see how they extrude, all those crazy things, guys. So a couple things. First of all, stay tuned because we're gonna go do this again tomorrow. We're gonna try all new areas of the lake. We just barely scratched the surface, fished only a couple hours today. We'll show you some more stuff from the plant and the factory tomorrow, show you some more stuff here from Central Iowa, and hopefully teach you some more stuff from the guy that produces the bulk of the fishing line sold in this country.
That's right, exactly.
It's this guy's baby right here, Chris Pitsilos. Thank you so much for everything today. All the stuff you guys seen on Fishful Thinker television from day one, this guy had a hand in. The flicker shad, all the different lines. Trust me, guys, he's a guy you want to know. We've had a great time today. If you want to enjoy the conversation on social media, at Fishful Thinker across all platforms, Berkley Fishing across platforms for you guys. Most importantly, we hope you'll tune in, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, there
did you get him?
Right here.
Oh, you're right on top of the boat. Oh, and he jumped off. I'm gonna get upwind a little bit because Chris has mentioned that about 3 times.
Yeah, I'd go upwind, make that 4. I think he wanted it. Look at him eating that thing. Look at that.
Oh, I missed that one. Dang it. Okay, hang on. 2 at a time even. Now you're just showing off. Oop, oop, oop.
All right, I got it. It's out. I had one.
So timeout, timeout. Cut.